The Zoom webinar ID and link are available on the posted agenda on the city website. So let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And our newest member, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Clerk, could we please have the roll call?
Committee Member Alvarado.
Here.
Committee Member Agamal. Committee Member Hobby.
Here.
Committee Member Ish.
Here.
Committee Member Valenzuela.
Here.
Chair Mora.
Here.
Thank you.
Now we're moving on to public comment. We are now open for public comment on items that are not on the agenda and that are in the City of Salinas' subject matter jurisdiction. Public comments generally are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. I may further limit the time for public comments depending on the agenda schedule. That won't be necessary. So any public comments in the chambers? Okay, seeing none, moving on to Zoom. Do we have any public comment online? No. Okay, so we are closing public comment for now and moving on to our first matter, which is ID number 25288, election of a committee chair and vice chair. And I believe that's Selena, right? Introducing item, the election of a committee chair and vice chair.
I can take it.
Yeah.
You want me to take it?
Thank you, my apologies. So we will be introducing, I'm sorry, if I can get your help, Alexis, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Alexis Mejia, Assistant City Clerk. So annually in July, each commission, board, and commission of the city requests for an election of a committee chair and vice chair. What we request at this time is for the committee members to nominate an individual from the committee as your chair, and then we will go ahead and take the roll call vote for that. We'll proceed next with election of a vice chair, and we'll take a roll call vote for that one as well. Just to note for Chair Mora, since he did fill a vacancy of the previous chair, the 2-year term limit does not apply to him. So you can begin a 1-year term if you are elected for chair.
So at this point, can anybody make a nomination?
Yes, it's open to anybody to make a nomination. You are also welcome to do self-nominations as well.
Well, I nominate Eric Morna for chair.
I would go ahead and second that.
Any committee member questions or comments regarding the election of Chair Mora for a 1-year term? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and do roll call vote. Committee Member Alvarado? Roll call vote.
What did I say? Yes. Sorry.
Committee Member Hobby?
Yes.
Committee Member Ish?
Yes.
Committee Member Valenzuela?
Yes.
Chair Mora?
Yes.
Motion pass. We can go ahead and proceed with the nomination of a vice chair at this time.
I nominate Yadira Hobby for vice chair.
Second.
Any questions or comments regarding the nomination of Yadira Javi as vice chair? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the roll call vote. Nomination made by a committee member Valenzuela, seconded by a committee member Javi to nominate Yadira Javi for vice chair. Committee member Alvarado?
Yes.
Committee member Javi?
Yes.
Committee member Ish?
Yes.
Committee member Valenzuela?
Yes.
Chair Mora?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Great. And now moving on to our administrative report, Abe Pedrosa.
Good afternoon, committee members. A. Pedroza, Assistant Finance Director. This is the Measure E fiscal year 2024-25 quarter 4 financial report as of June 30th. Per our normal process, please note these numbers are unaudited. And I do want to point out that the city continues to incur final payroll expenditures and fiscal year 24-25 invoices as part of the normal year-end accounts payable process. This is the operating budget, budget versus actuals, both revenue and expenditures. We do have some exciting news regarding the format of the reporting provided. In addition to a staff report being included, which provides context to the programs and projects funded by Measure E, we have also reverted back to showing the detail on screen now as opposed to the summary by department. And we hope that avoids confusion as you will see the various revenue types, a list of the expenditures by program, division, or activity, itemized transfers, and the CIP expenditures identified by individual project. This is the first section is revenue for the quarterly report. We are showing 84% received for the transactions and use tax revenue and 86% overall. These figures only reflect the months of July through April due to the timing of when we receive payment from the state. The benchmark for 10 out of 12 months is 83%. So we're coming in just ahead of pace with May revenues expected to be received shortly. The investment earnings line is trending significantly better than the budgeted amounts, and we have therefore adjusted our fiscal year 25-26 projections accordingly. The next few sections are expensed by department with nothing of concern identified. Finance and police are shown on this slide with the various divisions under each department that are funded by Measure E. As we scroll through, please note that the divisions can go over budget as long as they remain on budget by department. Recreation is currently 86% spent, but again, additional expenditures will be posted in the coming weeks. These are the divisions in recreation that are funded at least partially by Measure E. This slide details the library budget showing 89% spent. Before transfers, Measure E spending for the city is currently at 88% of the budgeted amount as of June 30th. The next section is non-departmental expenditures. Capital projects is 2% transferred and will be discussed in the next slide. Transfers out to the internal service funds are at 100%. These include general liability, property insurance, fleet maintenance, and vehicle replacement. And finally, we have transfers out to fund debt service, mainly the El Gabilan Library. Overall, Measure E spending for the city is at 55% of the budgeted amount at June 30th. And as you can see, the capital projects budget definitely skews the overall budget spent downwards. Any unspent capital projects funds will be carried over to next fiscal year. This is the capital improvement program budget versus actuals as of May 31st due to the normal 1-month lag for finance staff to complete the reimbursement process. There are 11 projects with Measure E funding for a total of $9.9 million. The current budget was established from carryover of unspent prior year allocations in addition to current year appropriations per council action. Limited activity has occurred in the CIP fiscal year to date as a majority of the total, $8.9 million, was just appropriated in the past couple of months. Next, we will highlight various projects being funded by Measure E.
Thank you, Selena Andrews. So I'd like to highlight some of the great work that we've been doing with this measure, starting with in library and community services. We have some tennis court improvements and restroom replacement. Both of these projects require additional funding. As you might be aware, any capital improvement projects are generally very costly and require multi-year funding. And so we build up the funding and then we start working on the project once there's enough budget there. So there's also playground improvements. There are ongoing repairs, and 4 new playgrounds have been installed leveraging Measure E funds, as well as Measure G and some ARPA dollars. We have some projects in the next project listed here is at District 5 Rec Center. There's a feasibility study going on right now, and the study is expected to be completed in November timeframe of 2025. So all very exciting news. Within Cluster Park, there's construction and new ADA restrooms. Projects, the construction revitalization is expected to be completed in October 2025, so later this year. And the Cluster Park ADA restrooms and other improvements are anticipated to be completed in the fall of 2026. There's also some upgrades being done to the Steinbeck Library. And staff is currently looking into some updates, including new flooring throughout the library. And within Public Works, there is a major project underway. It's a street preventative maintenance. This specific project was awarded by council in June 2025 and is anticipated to begin late in the summer. What it all includes is 16 roadway segments, approximately 23 lane miles of roadway. Maintenance includes crack treatment, asphalt patch repair, overlay, and full depth reclamation, which the Public Works Director can speak to a little bit later if you have any questions. Funds from Measure E, Measure G, Measure X, and ARPA are being used for all of these repairs. So with that, staff is here to answer any questions you might have about specific projects.
Great. So let's move on to committee member questions, right? We'll start maybe to my right. Adita?
I don't know anything about roads, but I did have questions. 16 roadway segments, like what is, can you explain that? Or...
So a roadway segment is based on our pavement management system, and it normally goes from intersection to intersection on a segment of road. Sometimes it goes longer, depending if like a residential road will go longer because it's the same type of segment that's through there. But our pavement management system monitors our roads by segment, so that's why you see the term segment there.
Thank you.
So slurry seals, I see that was on the budget but got 0%. I'm assuming that because it cost more. So is that one of the projects that's going to be rolling over to this coming fiscal year?
That is correct. I didn't reference the CIP numbers, capital improvement project numbers, and that is one of the ones that is continuing to be funded, and additional funding was added in fiscal year 25-26. So yes, that will carry over whatever funding wasn't used, and then additional funding was added.
Sounds good. And with that funding rolling over, will there be a published map or plan of which roads will be prioritized?
Specific roads, let's check with David. Thank you.
So council approved a policy in terms of how we select roadways, and every year When we know what our funding is going to be, we look at that policy and assign costs, and then we try to maximize how much roadways we can do with the money we have in the budget.
That's good. And I asked this because, as many of y'all know, when I worked for the city of Soledad, we actually were not anticipating how excited the public was going to be about slurry seals. So that could be actually a really good way to promote the good work that the city is doing and the way that we are actually spending well these funds. So just a suggestion.
Now I'm on. So on the slurry seal, it gets done. Is there a way to understand by project on a weekly basis what was expended?
No.
There is not.
We could do it. We do monthly pay estimates where the contractor will submit a pay request, and our inspectors go through that list to make sure that those items that they're requesting payment on are done. But on a weekly basis, that's too much work in terms of trying to track something.
Okay, I like that. I like the monthly. And what I want to see is just understand the hours and how much we used of the product to get to basically a total cost.
In terms of product, I mean, I'm not understand that question, but we can, the contractor will submit how much tonnage of asphalt he puts down.
Okay.
He will put in how many lineal feet of crack filling he did, how many square foot of full depth reclamation he's did, and that's how we calculate payments.
Okay. Is there a way that we all could see that broken out on a monthly basis, every 2 months?
I'm not sure if that is public information or not. I will need to check with the city attorney and see if actually pay estimates are public information that I could share with committee members. I've never had that question asked me,
Okay.
so I will have to look into it.
Okay. All right. We'll take it. Thank you.
Chair Mora, if I can just do a really quick follow-up comment on that. I know that our PIO was working on a really great website that updates the community of how far along projects are coming. So maybe if it's not there already, an estimated cost could be added to that portion of the website.
Yeah, that's tracking a percentage complete, but it doesn't go into the exact details that Mr. Ish is requesting. And so, like I said, I don't know if we can release that information or not, but I'll definitely check into it.
You'll check into that, and we can always fall back. Okay. Thank you.
Real quick, going back to the pavement project that we're just discussing, is the reason why it's not public knowledge to or something that you can share with us is because it's the city's contract with the private company doing the contracting?
I didn't understand the question, sorry.
So the reason why you can't share the information with the committee, is that because it's a private contract between the city and the contractor?
Yeah, again, we release what the actual line items are when we award the project. So anybody can actually go in there and look at what each line item costs. But I'm not sure if a financial information in terms of what he's charging on a particular pay request can actually be released. At the end of the project, we'll tell you how much each line item cost. We do a balancing change order in case there's some changes in the quantities. With any project, quantities can move up and down because what we have in there is estimates. And when everything is finalized, we do a finalizing change order for everything. But again, it doesn't sound like it would be a problem, but I've never released that kind of information before. So I need to check into it.
I think just because these funds are going towards that, it might be a good idea or might be plausible to release that kind of information just so we can understand how much of the money is going towards each one of those projects and see if at the end if it's reconciled
Right. Well, like I said, it's all information at the end of the beginning of the project and end of the project. And the specific pay request is another issue, and we'll have to look into that.
Thank you for your explanation. Thank you.
And thank you so much for that discussion. Clearly, the roads are of interest to everyone. Just a quick question for Abe. I know you mentioned that, like, it's fine if when you discuss the expenditures, that some of the departments did go over in particular areas, but it was fine so long as the broader department was under, right? But beyond that, and I know it's not like large amounts. I think the biggest one was like all of $2,000 or something. Like, in the greater scheme of things, it's not a big deal. But what are the control measures that the city has in order to prevent overspending? How is this tracked with the departments individually?
Thank you for the question. So I can help answer that. So the controls are that council does approve a budget, and they approve the budget per fund. We further identify by category, but within those categories, we do have controls in our financial management system where departments cannot go over certain categories. And there's a lot of categories within each department. That's why Abe mentioned that they can go over within the divisions, which are within the departments, but they do not go over within a department. And those controls are in place. They just can't process any invoices or any payments once they reach their budgeted amounts.
Thank you for that explanation. That really helps. Moving on to public comment. Do we have any public comment in chambers? Seeing none, we'll move online to see if there's any public comment on Zoom. Nope. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment and move to committee member comments.
I just want to say that I really appreciate the new added report that we got in our packet. That just made it easier to follow along during the presentation. So thank you.
As always, great job. And for me, one of the most important things, especially with measures, is promotion, right? So if it has not been done already, I have not checked social media in a bit, but if it hasn't been done already, it would be good to have maybe a video or a very simple report to the community members explaining what has been done this past fiscal year for Measure E.
I'd just like to thank everybody for their responses and to the questions that everyone was asking up here, and I look forward to working with everybody the rest of the year. So, thank you.
For me, thank you guys for everything you guys are doing. Obviously, these reports take a great amount of time, so we thank you for your efforts and everything you guys have done to present this in a very professional way. Again, just thank you.
And now I'll echo my colleagues in thanking you for the additional information, for the thoroughness of the reports. It really is great. Moving on to, there's no action required as part of this item, so I think we only have to left to approve the consent agenda, which included the minutes from the April 17th meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the April 17th, 2025 meeting?
I motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I will be abstaining.
Oh, I can second it, right? I will second it then. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Motion made by Committee Member Hobby, seconded by Chair Mora, to approve the minutes of April 17, 2025. Committee Member Alvarado.
Since I was not here, I'll just go ahead and recuse myself from that.
Committee Member Hobby.
Yes.
Committee Member Ish.
I will abstain. This is my first day.
Committee Member Valenzuela.
Yes.
Chair Mora.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Now, moving on to future agenda items, are there any committee member reports or comments? Or I guess requests for future items?
I don't know if this is outside of what we can ask up here, but I do know that Measure G is also kind of, about to sunset. So we are approaching in the next couple of years, 10 years of Measure E. So maybe if we can have the city manager look into a promotional campaign of everything that we have accomplished with both of the measures in the past almost 10 years.
I'll make a similar comment and just follow up on some of the other comments that I think I've made in the past. I'll admit I haven't checked the website just yet, but in previous meetings I've highlighted the fact that if you were to go to the City of Salinas' website under Measure E, that there's a lot of really valuable information in the budget book that's not currently on the website that I think would help people understand more about the history of Measure E and some of the, even the historic trends. I found the budget book to be really useful. And I think it would also be useful for future committee members to get acquainted with that portion of the budget book. I mean, read the whole budget book. The budget book is pretty pretty fascinating. But that in particular, Measure E, I agree with Jesus right concerning public a public information campaign. And I would go as far as to suggest maybe even having one of our committee meetings marketed as a intro to Measure E and just really going over the history. We've had a lot of turnover with Measure E. I think at this point I am the oldest person on the committee or the longest serving, and it's only been 2 years. Right. So So I think it would be beneficial for everyone, right, to potentially do something like that. And lastly, I'll make a pitch. We still have a vacancy for District 6, which, help me out, guys, I believe it's Creekbridge, right? It's the Creekbridge area. Creekbridge adjacent. Look it up. If you're interested in joining, please submit your application. You can submit the application online at the City of Salinas' website. Again, if you're a resident of District 6, that's Councilmember Aurelio Salazar, right? Okay, yes. So if you live in Councilmember Aurelio Salazar's district, please join us. We need another member.
Or if you just know him, you don't have to live in the district.
Even better, wider net right there. And unless there's any other comments, we can adjourn at 4:28. Oh wait, guys, I forgot the gap.